Hi everyone, this is my week 6 mini learning module on leadership. The learning objectives that I would like everyone to achieve are to identify and describe the 5 leadership styles, to understand the importance of assessments when it comes to finding leaders, and to identify some of the driving factors associated with employee engagement. There are 5 leadership styles: laissez-faire, autocratic, participative, transactional, and transformational. Each of these styles has advantages and disadvantages, and an organization's environment dictates which type of style is used. There are some companies out there that have all different styles because it's necessary to complete organizational objectives. Laissez-faire leadership is very laid back. There's not a lot of feedback from the supervisor to the employee. This style benefits those who don't need constant supervision because they're trained and experienced. This style doesn't benefit new employees who need training and aren't as experienced. It can also lead to poor production, lack of control over employees, and increasing costs due to lack of control. Autocratic leadership is when a manager makes decisions solo without the input of others. This is a style where managers are not challenged and the manager has total authority. This style benefits people who require very close supervision. Employees who like to be creative really reject the autocratic leadership style. Participative leadership includes both the input of managers and the input of employees, but the manager does have the final decision. This style works well when changes are needed because employees get to take part and they get to feel involved within the change. It does create challenges when quick decisions need to be made. Transactional leadership is when a manager dangles a carrot in order to motivate to complete a task. So goals are established between the manager and the employee agrees to follow the manager's lead to accomplish a task. Employees will then receive a reward when the goal is complete. Transformational leadership is reliant on lots of communication. Employees are motivated by leaders to enhance productivity and efficiency through extensive channels of communication. This style requires a lot of involvement from management throughout every single step. In my company, we have a combination of all the different styles, and that's what makes us work well together. Each department has their own style to accomplish their goals and tasks. Employees also like to be involved in the decision-making, and we will try to involve them as much as we can as long as it aligns with the organizational objectives. Types of leadership assessments. So there's 2 types that I'm going to really discuss, and it's the Myers-Briggs assessment and the DISC assessment. So assessments are an interesting look into skills and personality traits of an individual. When managers go to hire employees, they need to be thinking about where this employee will best fit within the organization, and if they'll fit with the current employees that are already in that section or department. Sometimes employees will have the experience, but they won't have the leadership traits. Assessment tools can help identify things like personality traits, and it can dig into the fact of whether a person can follow or they're better off being a leader. Some people like to do things hands-on, and some people like to direct their teams to carry out tasks. As a manager, this is a really helpful tool as you're trying to fill the leadership position. You can match up the person where they'll mesh the best, and the 2 most common assessments that people use are Myers-Briggs and DISC. The Myers-Briggs is geared towards understanding how a person would react in a particular situation, whereas DISC is more focused on leadership skills and how a person needs to adjust based on the environment. My company utilizes 2 different assessments, the DISC assessment and then a personality and cognitive assessment. The personality and cognitive assessment is used at the hiring stage, whereas DISC is used after an employee is already hired. The assessments have been really helpful for us, and especially when I'm placing someone into a team. I can identify the style that will work best together and what makes the most sense towards productivity. DISC is a fun assessment to people as well. I have the employees usually take it during the onboarding process, and then I review their style with them, and I also show them the styles of the different people on their team. So when they're coming into this team, they understand who the person is and how they may need to adjust based on the style that they're bringing. It also helps them identify potentially a better approach if an employee is a particular style. Employee engagement. So Daniel Pink is someone who states that 70% of the workforce is not engaged in their job. Managers are missing the mark on identifying what motivates their workforce. Maslow's hierarchy of needs states that esteem is really important to employees. Under the category esteem, there is a very important subcategory called autonomy, and that's become really attractive to the workforce today. Self-direction is a technology that should be utilized for employee engagement. Employees feel a greater sense of motivation to accomplish something when they have autonomy over items like their time, the techniques, the tasks, and the team. When employees are motivated and engaged in their work, it leads to increased productivity and better performance. In my experience, when I've been given autonomy, I feel more creative and I truly owned my tasks from start to finish, and I was really excited to complete my tasks. It feels empowering to have control over your work, and it feels really good when you have a great outcome at the end. If-then motivators are one of the most common motivators in organizations today. They are effective for simple and short-term tasks, but they are not effective for complex and long-term tasks. A leader might say to their team, if you complete this project by Friday, you will receive a small bonus in your next paycheck. Money is often a motivator for many people, but it's also not everything. It may allow you to put your head down and complete a task, but if it's a large project full of different complex tasks, you'll most likely lose your motivation. Managers do need to identify what matters most to their employees. It's important to keep your employees engaged and motivated in order to increase organizational productivity. Managers also do need to be mindful of the money aspect, but they also need to look deeper into areas like autonomy in order to reach the workforce today. Some supplemental materials that I have here. The first one is a video on developing your leadership philosophy. The second one is an article on 5 ways to revamp your leadership style. The third one is the DISC assessment website, where people can read a little bit more about the assessment and you can take the assessment yourself. The fourth one's the Myers-Briggs assessment website. So again, you can read some more details on what that assessment entails, and you can even take the assessment. And then the last one is Daniel Pink's Driving Employee Engagement video. Some discussion questions that I hope you guys could find the answers to after watching my presentation are: what type of leadership style do you want your manager to have? What type of leadership do you currently have? The second question is, what leadership or communication assessments have you taken? What did you learn from them? And do you believe these assessments are accurate? And the third one is, what do you think is a driving factor for employee engagement? What keeps you personally engaged at work? These are the references that I utilized to get all of the content for this week. And then finally, does anyone have any questions? Thank you for watching my presentation.